Okay, everyone, thank you for coming. I'm just going to talk briefly a little bit about George and, sorry, I have social anxiety. Jeff, I don't know why I did that. Jeff, forgive me immediately.
I forgive you immediately.
I'm going to be thinking about that for the next 8 days. It'll take about 8 days to get past that. Okay, I just wanted to talk about how I came to know Jeff. A couple of years ago, I did a show at the 92nd Street Y. It was a tribute to Lenny Bruce, and so it was only Jewish comedians. I was included as an author, so it wasn't too hard to find 5 or 6 Jewish comedians. And I know that day, in tribute to Lenny Bruce, I told a story about smoking crack with a very kind and lovely transsexual in a flop hotel on Christmas Eve. It seemed like a Jewish kind of tribute to Lenny Bruce. And so I met Jeff that night, and he was wonderful. And then I ran into him in a lovely bookstore in Los Angeles, Skylight Books, I believe it's called, in Silver Lake. And we ran into each other there, and we sort of became friends. And then about last June, I got an email or a text message saying, I have an issue I'd like to discuss with you. And I thought, okay, and I didn't know what this could be, and he seemed to want to do it in person. And I'm somewhat addicted to going to the Russian and Turkish baths over on 10th Street. And so I kind of felt like I'm sorry to make it so Jewish-oriented, but this is Brooklyn in New York, so for the 3 Gentiles in the audience, I hope you don't feel excluded. So I said, well, meet me at the Russian baths. And I did feel like, an old-time Jewish gangster, and we met there. And he presented to me that he had written about half a book, but the deadline was coming up in a few months, and I think he'd mostly written it by hand, and how was he going to get this done? And so we sort of sat down, and we kind of came up, with a plan, how many pages a day, and I even told him font size and the computer, and it was kind of a wonderful talk. And then we had Herring there, and I think this happened over 2 visits at the Russian baths. And during this one time when we were having Herring talking about this, someone from Jeff's past came up to him. Jeff didn't remember him, but it was a guy from college. And I think at some point either Jeff or the fellow said, don't you remember me? And I think Jeff said, oh, you were the guy who was always vomiting in the dormitory, in the hallway outside my room. And the fellow didn't seem to be picking up on social clues that maybe we were having a talk, and he just kind of kept standing there. So I said, Jeff, I'm going to go back down to the steam room. So I went down to the steam room, and this is a very co-ed, lovely place. Nothing inappropriate happens there. But this one time, a young lady decided to do an incredible soaping ritual in the steam bath, and I'm thinking, poor Jeff is up there with this guy who he cannot extricate himself from. But it turns out it's a good thing. Jeff is married, and and shouldn't have witnessed such a thing anyway. But I'm thinking, this is like something out of Curb Your Enthusiasm, that this guy, this vomiter from 1980 in the University of Miami is monopolizing him when he could be down in this steam bath being, inspired. But anyway, that was how our friendship began. And he went and he finished the book, and it's a wonderful book. And I think you'll be delighted tonight. Just some quick biographical things for Jeff. He's the writer and director and actor of the film Someone to Eat Cheese With. He's the executive producer and co-star of Curb Your Enthusiasm. He was the voice of the captain in Wall-E, and many, many other wonderful credits. So please welcome to the podium the author of My Footprint, Jeff Garlin.
Thank you very